on Carpooling with Ben. I am so excited to be picking up one of my best media friends, one of the most awesome people in the world, Miss Mary Larsen. Miss Mary Larsen, come on in.
Howdy, friend.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
You know, I always, whenever I get into someone's car, I want to, like, hug them.
It's weird, yeah. The
really hard car hug.
just, you know, so.
That's
I
right.
called you Miss Mary Larsen. You're married.
I'm a Mrs.
Mrs. Mary Larsen.
I know. Making me feel very young with a miss.
You know, it's, you're as young as you feel. And
That's it.
after 15 loads of laundry, I'm sure you...
20 cups of coffee.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel young after that. There we go.
Well, it's all good. It's
It
all
is.
good. So, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Yeah.
Keeping really busy.
You are extremely busy.
I know. I think I like being busy, so that's why I keep doing it. But I'm always ready for a new challenge.
So let's back up the let's take a few steps back in the Wayback Machine. Before I met you, you were doing what?
Okay, so before you met me, way back when I was little Miss Mary, I was a music teacher. So that's
Okay.
what I went to school. I went to URI to study. I'm a musician at heart. I play the saxophone, and I went to URI to get my degree in music ed. So for many years, I played instruments, and I taught students how to sing and play their own instruments and do musical theater. So I did that for a while. And then I got involved with Rhody Productions, a local movie production company, and I started to do some film, more behind the scenes stuff. I wasn't on film that much.
Well, he just recently did the bleed for this.
Yeah, the Vinnie Paz movie,
That
which is
was-
coming out
yeah.
in November.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great. The trailer is already up. Miles Teller and Aaron Eckhart, who are two really big stars, they're already starting to get some great reviews for the movie. And we're going to be having a really big premiere November 10th at Providence Place Mall. And the
Wow.
stars are coming. Yeah,
That's
so I was
amazing.
doing that.
That is so awesome.
I nannied for a while. I did a whole bunch of stuff, and then I was like, you know what else I want to try out? I want to be on TV.
There you
So
go.
I auditioned for the Rhode Show, and somehow a musician got a gig on air.
There you go.
Yep. So that's how we met.
And it was a whirlwind of a year.
It really was. I found out I was pregnant halfway through the year, got to travel the state and talk about the state, which I've lived in my entire life, and I love with my entire heart. So that's why I really wanted to go be on the Rhode Show, was just to share the bounties of Rhode Island with other people. And after that, stayed home with my son for a while, worked more with Rhody Productions, and started podcasting.
So let's talk about this podcasting thing, because, you know, some people get into a hobby. You guys, I remember the first time you showed me about your podcast, and it was you were living in Providence, and you brought this crate out, and it had microphones and wires and
Lots of wires.
Yeah, a lot of wires, a little soundboard and everything, and actually, it was Blake who was even more excited to be like, look at this stuff, this is awesome and everything. And I'm a musician too. I love all the technology. I am geeking out. I'm like, this is great.
Yep.
Then you guys moved, and you had a house that could facilitate, it had an extra closet.
It was meant to be a laundry room where you fold clothes, but I don't want to fold clothes.
No.
I would rather record podcasts.
Absolutely. So I saw the house before you guys had moved in and everything, and Blake was like, yeah, I'm going to set this up as a studio. I'm thinking, all right, this will be a cool little closet area. The next day I come down, I mean, it's like walking into the Fan in New York City. I mean, it was like huge.
Yes.
The studio, I mean, you've got these incredible, I mean, I don't know where you got how you got the link to get these microphones. They're like high-end production quality mics and
Tile
setup
mics.
and everything. I mean, the wall with the gray, carpeting and everything. So I've heard that the next studio, because you guys are getting ready to move
Moving
again, is going to be like a 4-spot position with natural light and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Getting a window in the studio, exactly. We can have interviews with people right there. We're going to have it all set up. Each time we move, it's just bigger and better.
There you go.
And who knew, as you said, a little hobby. I think between my husband and I, we take our hobbies very seriously.
well, you take it so seriously that TV shows, national, international television series are reaching out to you about some of the podcasts you're doing, because you've got how many? 17, 18
I know,
of
that's
them?
what it feels like. I think we have now 5.
Okay.
Now we have 5. So we started off with a podcast called ParentCast, which
Yep.
is about parenting topics, and that was really what started it all, was our ParentCast. And then we said, we listen to podcasts about television shows where people might recap an episode or interview one of the stars. So why don't we try that? So we started a podcast about The Leftovers on HBO. And through that, we've been able to interview Liv Tyler, Damon Lindelof, really big-time people. And then we also have another podcast called Outlander Cast about the show Outlander on Stars. And through that, we've interviewed some really big people, Ronald Moore from Battlestar Galactica and the composer Bear McCreary. So this is being able to work with Starz and HBO, which are 2 serious networks.
Big, huge.
Yeah, I mean, they send us swag, they've sent us to premieres, just
Free
some
stuff
really
is never
cool
bad.
things.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So we've kind of gone from there, and you've just been able to take passions into different places. And as I said, when I was on the Rhode Show, I did that because I wanted to find an outlet, find a medium to talk about the amazing people and places and events in the Ocean State. And after my time on the Rhode Show, I still have felt this need that I want to share. I'm a sharer. What
Sure.
can I say?
Sharing
I
is
like
caring.
to share. Exactly.
Grew up in the Barney era.
That's right. And so the idea of having a Rhode Island podcast was born. And I think what really spurned it on was people who are in Rhode Island, they often complain that there's not anything to do. There's nothing going on this weekend. And I sit there and I say, are you kidding me? There's thousands of things to do. There's thousands of places to go. We have all 4 beautiful seasons. We have such diversity between the mansions and just the events in Providence and all the different food and the people. So I wanted to take those naysayers and say, guess what? I'm going to give you weekly ideas about what you can do. And so I contacted the best person I thought who would be a great co-host, Mr. Benjamin
Jeez.
DeCastro, and I said, hey, you want to hang out with me in my studio once a week?
It's a lot of fun. So we've launched Wicked Rhody, which is it's a weekly podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, on the website itself.
Yep.
And it's been a blast. It has been a blast. We've got a few episodes in the can already. People can go there and listen and download. Now, it is timely, but there are also stories on there of different experiences and different things that you can go back and listen to. So if you want to get caught up, it doesn't take that much time. Just
That's
subscribe, and it's a lot of fun. So now, you're a co-host for all your other podcasts. Because this is the first podcast you're not doing with your husband.
Yeah.
So talk to me about working with Blake on these podcasts and how it's been working with him. I mean, it's been something fun you guys could do together.
Yeah, it's become our date night. Once we had our son Reese, we really couldn't get out of the house that much. You can't afford to have a babysitter all the time. And Blake and I are people who love to go out. We love to go out to restaurants or to these events. But we really kind of had to buckle down and stay home a bit more. And we watch a lot of TV and shows and love to talk. So it's been really cool to start a new business venture, honestly, is what it's become. We created Mary and Blake Media out of this. And Blake has a lot of strengths, which are my weaknesses, and vice versa.
Well, that's what makes you guys a great team.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are like the Rhode Island power couple.
We balance each other out so well. It's challenged us. But one of the best things is that we're always together. So if we're not doing anything on a Thursday night, we say, hey, you want to crank out another episode? Yeah, let's do it. So we sit down, and it's been really fun. I love podcasting with Blake. It took our relationship to a whole different level.
And it's taken your relationship all over the country because you've traveled to different places. You've been nominated for some awards. You've been really, this thing has bit you guys hard.
Yes.
And you've taken it seriously and you've gone at it the right way. So I applaud you for that. And it's a lot of fun. The ParentCast one has been a podcast. That was the first one. And you recently came with an episode launching season 2, which it is very, very informative and very insightful. I listened to it when it first came out, and it was so. It was really, it's deep.
Well, we can be a little open and honest. It's about male postpartum depression.
Okay.
And I think I'm open in that I suffered from postpartum depression after my son Reese. And podcasts are something that got me through it. Being an extroverted person, I actually suffer quite frequently from feeling very alone.
Okay.
Like a cabin fever, or even if I'm at events, sometimes it's this weird extroverted anxiety where I think, oh gosh, should I be talking to that person, or do these people have the same interests as I? So I listened to podcasts to feel like I was a member of a community of different things that I enjoyed, and especially being a stay-at-home mom, hearing these people on a weekly basis, sometimes daily basis, they kind of become your friends, and it's common interests. And so that's why we created ParentCast, because a lot of parents are out there looking for knowledge about different topics. They may not have time to read all the books or read all the blogs. Even though I have a blog, I don't have time half the time to write on it because I'm busy with my kids. So we would interview experts about different topics, like how to feed your kid or sleep training. But when I shared my story about how I overcame postpartum depression, it really hit a lot of people. And I talked about, actually, there's this great program at Women and Infants for women who battle that. And so Blake ended up going through something quite similar that we didn't know about beforehand. So he was able to share his story. And on podcasts, it's just so intimate. The voice is... You can't get any more raw than the voice, aside from video, in my opinion.
Sure.
And I almost think when it's someone's voice, it's even that much more near and dear. You think back to the days before all of our smartphones, when you would honestly have these long conversations with friends over the phone, and how that was such a connection. So yeah, you know, it's something that I'm really proud of Blake for stepping up and speaking about it. And that is why I love podcasting, because you create a community. People are able to listen, even with Wicked Rhody. You know, we're hopefully going to be encouraging people to get outside their doors, to get outside their comfort zones, and to go out and explore, and to meet other like-minded people who want to try something new together. So,
and I mean, how you just said that was perfect. And you know, it's one of those things that there is a bit of a stigma there with what Blake went through with it, and how he overcame it, and just that whole reality. You're right. It is that it can be your friend.
it can.
I play in bands and I drive a lot. You know, Susan doesn't come with me to every gig, and I don't blame her. I don't go with her to work every day. And I can only listen to so much music, and I need that additional stimulation. And sometimes it's like, you know, I there's some podcasts where I look forward to, like, oh yeah, I'm going to hear from you know, from Michael Hyatt again, or you know Christopher Penn again. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what he has to say. It's like catching up with an old friend.
Yes.
And you know, it's educational, it's informative. So there's so many great uses out there. There's great training devices on the podcast, and so many wonderful opportunities out there to learn about, whether it be software, technology, marketing, business, money, real estate, home, you name it,
everything.
that topic is there. And if you want a good laugh, so many comedians have their own podcast now. It's unbelievable. So it's a lot of fun. It's content on demand, kind of like what this show is.
There you go.
So it's a lot of fun. So talk to me about what's going on with your music, because you play from time to time with
the American band.
Yes, the American band, which is quite a setup.
It is. So yeah, I've been playing saxophone since 7th grade, clarinet before that, until my band director told me to switch on over. And so I've done a lot of different music genres and types, but I've always had a soft spot for wind ensemble music. So a lot of people get confused about what's an orchestra and what's a wind orchestra or wind ensemble. And being a saxophonist, that was the one thing I messed up on. Being a saxophonist, you can't really play in a traditional orchestra with violins and cellos and bass, because a lot of the music was written before the saxophone was built.
They don't let you play the accordion in those orchestras either, so I got gypped on that one too.
We can wear the badge together. We can't be in orchestras.
So close.
Yeah, but wind ensembles do still play a lot of traditional repertoire, so what people might refer to as classical sounding. We also play a lot of marches, so John Philip Sousa.
Okay.
And I think the song that I've played the most in my entire life is the Stars and Stripes.
There you go.
So, we play all around.
Popular for 2 weeks up until July 4th.
And then we're done. We're done. I can't play it anymore. It's the one I'm going to hear.
You get a shorter season with that song than you do with Christmas music.
Right.
So.
We actually, at the American band, we played at the end of every concert year round.
Oh, okay. That's great.
So we're coming up on our 180th anniversary. That's how long this band has been around.
In Rhode Island.
Well, yeah, but It's the American band. Like John Philip Sousa helped pioneer this band, like the king of marches. So we are going to be celebrating our anniversary this year. We're having a huge concert with members who are alumni of the ensemble.
Wow.
There's about 40 or 50 adults who play in this group.
That's
we play
awesome.
around all of southern New England, but it's like clarinets, flutes, trumpets, all of the percussion section.
Yeah.
And it's really an honor to be able to play with such high level players. And our conductor is Dr. Brian Cardenay. He is a professor down at URI. He actually is in charge of the marching band down there. So it's a joy. But we have family concerts. We play outdoors so people can come and have a picnic. We play indoors at some fancy schmancy venues.
Well, my favorite thing was you played at the Star Wars premiere recently.
Yes.
So was it for Hasbro?
For Hasbro. Hasbro hired the American band. We went to a local movie theater.
Okay.
And we were all inside, kind of where the concessions are.
Yep.
And we got to have fun with it. Those of us, myself included, who wanted to dress up in some Star Wars garb could. And Hasbro had treated all of their employees to go see the movie on opening day.
Wow.
And so they came in, and there we were playing John Williams with a big opening of Star Wars, and it was really cool. We played for quite some time. People were there, Facebook living. I felt very famous.
That's
I kind of
awesome.
felt, yeah.
That is so great.
Yep, it's been an awesome ensemble, and I'm really excited to just stay with it for years. I think that we were talking about community and finding things where you can find like-minded individuals, and something like this, I'm hanging out with people who have just graduated from college to people who are retired, and this is their big thing that they continue to do, continue to play for their whole life. So as a musician, it's really this lifelong learning and joy that you get to keep doing. As long as these fingers are working,
There you go.
better not get arthritis.
There you go. Absolutely. Or emphysema, because you're on the woodwind, so you gotta.
I play the bari sax too, which is as big as me.
And that is my favorite. I've told you this before. That is one of my most favorite instruments. Hands down.
I love
when
it.
I find a band that has a bari sax in it, especially like a pop band or a top 40 band,
Yes.
or a local, if it's got a bari sax, they are serious musicians.
Yep.
It's just got such an awesome raw sound to it. It's so wholesome, and so
Yeah.
there you go. That's our 45-second geek out over music
Over
and whatnot.
music instruments.
So, if you want to find more about the podcast, if you want to find more about what Mary and Blake are doing, you can head over to a myriad of options. You can go to Tall Mom Media.
Yep.
You can go to Tall Mom Tiny Baby, that is the blog.
Yep.
You can go to Mary Larsen on Facebook.
That's it.
Go to Wicked Rhody on Facebook. You can go, where else?
We actually have a new website, maryandblake.co. Hey, look at
better
that.
than that.
That's the one where we'll have everything. But yeah, just on Facebook. And even if you just go into iTunes and you type in Mary Larsen, Larsen,
Right.
all of the podcasts will show up.
There you go. Can't beat
So
that.
yeah, you can pretty much find me anywhere.
And that's the best way. I've done podcasts for a number of years. That is the best way. I love Stitcher, love everybody else, but the iTunes podcast app, even if you use it on the desktop, is the
Yes.
best. It keeps it up to date. It's fresh. Great suggestions. You can rate it. It's a lot of fun. So.
And I would definitely recommend that people hit subscribe, because then it automatically will download the newest episode. And on your drive to work, you can get inspired about different things that
Absolutely.
Ben and I are talking about that are going on in the state. And yeah, if people have kids, or even if they have grandkids, ParentCast is really a wealth of knowledge. Not just from me. I'm not an expert, but we get to interview some really interesting people on these podcasts.
You've brought in your friends and contacts you have all throughout the country, for some of the episodes in the past, which is great.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Mary, I'd say we hit up, let's go grab a coffee, and then let's record another podcast. Okay?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Benjamin DeCastro. You've been watching Carpool with Ben. Mary Larsen, thank you for joining.
My pleasure.
Have an awesome day.